The gymnasium buzzed with excitement. The prom posters were plastered across the walls. Colorful lights dangled from the ceiling, and students whispered about who was asking whom. Among the chatter and laughter stood Emily, a quiet, reserved girl who had always blended into the background. She wasn't the kind of girl who drew attention. Her head was usually buried in books. Her hair often tied in a simple braid, and her voice soft enough that teachers sometimes had to lean closer to hear her. Yet tonight was different. Emily had secretly hoped prom might be her chance to step out of the shadows, if only for a moment. For weeks, she had been nursing a quiet dream. One of being noticed, accepted, maybe even asked to dance. But in high school, dreams like hers often collided with cruel reality. The popular crowd, led by a boy named Brad and his group of friends, always found amusement in targeting those they deemed different. Emily had already been on their radar. Her shyness, her second-hand clothes, and her reluctance to fight back made her an easy target. As the day of the prom approached, Emily found herself dreading the event more than anticipating it. But when she walked into the gym earlier that afternoon to set up decorations, she overheard Brad talking to his friends. They were daring each other to pull a prank during the prom, to make someone the butt of a cruel joke. Emily tried to slip by unnoticed, but Brad spotted her and smirked. That smirk alone was enough to send a chill through her. The evening finally arrived. The gym was glowing, filled with music and laughter. Girls in glittering dresses spun under the lights, boys in suits laughed with friends, and Emily lingered by the edge of the crowd in her simple blue dress. She hadn't been asked to the prom, but she had gathered her courage just to show up. Her heart pounded when she saw Brad walking toward her with his confident stride. For a fleeting moment, she thought maybe, just maybe, someone had noticed her. "Emily," Brad said, loud enough for the crowd nearby to hear, "would you like to dance with me?" Gasps rippled around them. Emily froze. Her cheeks flushed pink. Her heart soared, and her lips parted as if to say yes. But deep down, something felt wrong. Brad's friends were snickering in the corner, holding up their phones to record. It wasn't kindness. It was a setup. Emily shook her head gently. "No, thank you." The crowd erupted in laughter, and Brad's smile vanished, replaced with anger. Rejection wasn't something he was used to, especially not from someone like her. His pride bruised, he leaned closer and hissed, "You're going to regret that." Moments later, when the music swelled and everyone was distracted, Brad and his friends cornered Emily near the bleachers. Before she could react, they yanked at her dress, the fabric tearing down the side. Gasps and laughter filled the gym as her classmates turned to watch. Emily stood frozen, her torn dress hanging awkwardly, her eyes stinging with tears. It was every shy girl's worst nightmare. Humiliation in front of the entire school. But something inside Emily shifted in that moment. The years of being silent, of swallowing insults, of hiding her strength, they all boiled over. Brad reached out again, mockingly tugging at the ripped fabric, but this time Emily grabbed his wrist and shoved him back with surprising force. The gym fell silent. Emily took a deep breath, her tears drying into something sharper. She had been practicing martial arts in secret for months, a way to build confidence and defend herself, though no one at school knew. Now, faced with this moment of humiliation, she wasn't going to stand down. Brad lunged forward again, expecting her to cower. Instead, Emily pivoted on her heel and, with perfect form, delivered a powerful roundhouse kick that landed squarely against his chest. The sound of impact echoed through the gym. Brad stumbled backward, crashing into the bleachers as the crowd gasped in shock. Silence hung for a beat, then whispers erupted like wildfire. "Did you see that? She kicked him?" Emily, shy Emily, did that. Brad's friends froze, unsure whether to laugh or step in. Emily's gaze met theirs, steady and unflinching. "Stay away from me," she said, her voice clear, steady, and stronger than anyone had ever heard it. The boys backed off, shaken by what they had just witnessed. Brad, humiliated, struggled to stand. His face flushed with rage and embarrassment. But he didn't dare come near her again. Emily adjusted her torn dress as best she could, her shoulders squared. For the first time in her life, she wasn't shrinking back. She wasn't hiding. The whispers in the crowd grew louder, but this time, they weren't mocking. They were filled with awe. Later that night, Emily sat quietly in the corner of the gym, still catching her breath. A few classmates approached her, not with laughter but with admiration. One girl even offered her a jacket to cover her dress. "That was amazing," she whispered. "I wish I was as brave as you." Emily smiled faintly. She hadn't set out to be brave. She had only wanted to stop the cruelty, to finally stand up for herself. But in doing so, she had shown everyone that even the quietest, shyest person could carry strength within them. The bullies never targeted her again. And though Emily didn't dance much that night, she walked out of the prom with her head held high. She had faced humiliation and turned it into empowerment, proving that true strength isn't about how loud you are or how many friends you have. It's about standing tall when it matters most. The lesson lingered long after prom night was over. People began to see Emily differently, but more importantly, Emily began to see herself differently. She was no longer just the shy girl in the corner. She was the girl who refused to be broken. The girl who fought back when it counted. The girl who showed everyone that respect is not something given. It's something earned through courage. And from that night on, the memory of her roundhouse kick remained not just as a shock in the gym, but as an unforgettable reminder that even the quietest voices can roar when pushed to the edge.